A narcissist captivates you with charm, wit, and attentiveness when the love bombing stage begins. Little do you know that beneath the beguiling exterior lay the insidious tactics of a narcissist. One such tactic is withholding intimacy, a subtle yet devastating form of emotional abuse that leaves you heartbroken, feeling unworthy and unappreciated. You question yourself, but I assure you, by the end of this episode, all the self-doubt will have resolved and you will have realized that it wasn't your fault. Stay until the end. Hi, I am Danish, a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. In this episode, I'll help you understand why narcissists withhold intimacy and how that impacts you. I will explain the process in 4 phases. Before we begin, I have a question for you. Did the narcissist who hurt you also withheld intimacy? If yes, how did that make you feel? Drop your experiences and answers in comments below and help other survivors feel validated and less alone in their experience. Let's start with phase number 1, the honeymoon phase. In the beginning, the narcissist sweeps you off your feet with their magnetic charm and captivating personality. It feels as if you have found your soulmate, someone who understands you in a way no one else ever had. The honeymoon phase of the relationship is an intoxicating whirlwind of passion and intimacy, a time when you feel truly seen, loved, and cherished. The narcissist's every touch, every whispered word of affection feels like a balm to your soul, healing past hurts and forging an unbreakable bond. The intensity of your love and connection becomes a powerful elixir that makes you believe you are destined to be together. You are completely enchanted and blinded by the love that seems so real, so genuine. It feels like a feeling that would last a lifetime. But then the shift happens, which is the phase number 2. As time passes, you begin to sense subtle yet undeniable change in their demeanor. The once warm and loving gaze that had made your heart flutter now seems cold and distant. The demonstrative compliments that had lifted your spirits begin to fade, replaced by a growing sense of unease and insecurity. This shift happens so gradually and insidiously that you barely notice it at first. But as the days turn into weeks and the weeks into months, you find yourself increasingly bewildered and hurt by their transformation. The person who was once your rock, your source of comfort and solace, now seems to be slipping away from you like sand through your fingers. The pain of losing the love and connection you shared with them is like a dagger to your heart, leaving you feeling abandoned and utterly alone. Your world, once filled with the warmth of love and companionship, turns cold and lonely. You are left in a state of emotional turmoil, desperately trying to make sense of what is happening and wondering what you could do to fix your crumbling relationship. This is where your personality starts changing and you do things you would have never done before. You start begging for bits of affection, which is not affection truly, and you start settling for breadcrumbs. Phase number 3, the withholding. As the withholding of intimacy intensifies, the narcissist deliberately creates scenarios to make you feel undeserving of their love and affection. They often compare you to others, suggesting that you're not meeting their expectations or are somehow inferior. They use this tactic to keep you in a state of constant self-doubt and insecurity, making it extremely easier for them to maintain control and keep walking over you again and again. They also use passive aggression to manipulate you further and please them when they are the ones who should be doing that after depriving you for so long. Instead, they give you the silent treatment or refuse to engage in any form of physical touch or emotional support even when you are in obvious distress. These episodes of emotional abandonment leave you feeling utterly alone and desperate to regain the love and closeness you thought you once shared with them. To make matters worse and add fuel to the fire, they dangle the possibility of intimacy or emotional connection only to pull it away at the last moment. This bait and switch tactic keeps you hooked on what I call hopeless hope. as it momentarily offers you a glimmer of hope before plunging you back into the abyss of rejection and despair. The final phase, the emotional toll. The cumulative effect of this prolonged withholding of intimacy takes a devastating toll on your mental and emotional health. You begin to experience anxiety, depression, and even physical illnesses as the stress of trying to navigate their ever-changing moods and demands wears you down. You become consumed with self-doubt, unsure of anything, second-guessing your every thought and action in an effort to avoid triggering their disapproval. Your identity becomes increasingly enmeshed with theirs as you lose sight of your own needs, desires, and sense of self. This is how you lose yourself, and this is why you no longer recognize yourself after leaving them. It's not your fault. You need to understand that. You need to understand that it was not your fault. The dynamics of a narcissistic relationship are really complex, and you need to understand for you to truly know that you did not cause it to yourself. The constant rejection and invalidation erode your self-esteem to the point where you feel completely unworthy of love and affection, not just from your partner, but from others as well, which is why now you have difficulty in having a relationship, which is why you're afraid of relationships at the first place. This sense of worthlessness leads you to isolate yourself from friends and family, further entrenching you in the toxic dynamic of your relationship with the narcissist. You feel like the narcissist is the only person who can understand you, who you can be with, because they accept your insecure self. The impact of withheld intimacy extends beyond the emotional realm, as it also affects your physical well-being. The stress takes a toll on your body, leading to a weakened immune system, sleep disturbances, and various stress-related health issues. Ultimately, the emotional and physical toll of enduring withheld intimacy at the hands of a narcissist leaves you feeling broken and depleted, struggling to find the strength to break free from the cycle of abuse and reclaim your sense of self-worth. In conclusion, the harrowing experience of withheld intimacy by a narcissist is a devastating form of emotional abuse that leaves deep scars on you. You go through the initial euphoria, the painful realization, and emotional turmoil. Though the road to healing from this kind of trauma is long and complicated, but it is a path that ultimately leads to self-discovery, empowerment, and hope, which is why let the healing begin and continue.